women that have created a lane for themselves and are doing extraordinary things. And thank you so much for being on the show today, Rochelle. This is Rochelle. It's been about 10 years I've been trying to get her on the show.
I really tried today.
You did amazing. I'm so grateful to have you here. But for those of you who don't know, welcome to Minding My Business. This is a platform to celebrate women who have really done amazing things in their line of work, just stayed on course, and has created a lane to inspire, to elevate people to just be their best self in their business, in their mind, and in their life. And it's an honor to have you on the show today. I really wanted you on, so I'm so happy you could be here. Yay. So I'm going to introduce you. You can say something if I miss anything, but it's Rochelle. She makes skin glowy AF. Love it. Owner of Glowtique, which is a med spa here in Miami, professional grade skin treatment, and you have this hashtag love more. Where did that come from?
So it came, honestly, I don't know. I used to just say it all the time at the end of a post or a story. Just something I used to say all the time. And then people started catching on to me saying love more. And I was like, I didn't even realize I said it. I used to just say it at the end of everything, like love more. And it just was something I would say.
Wow.
But nothing I really thought about. It was just something that came really natural.
I wasn't sure like what that was. So that was just a natural story. But did I miss anything?
No, that was it. It's perfect. Oh, look, Jade joined.
So you're doing amazing things. Hey, Jade. So you're doing amazing things. I mean, every time I see you or we get to catch up, you're always on to another adventure, a dream, and a vision. But before we get into that, what got you into the line of work that you do today?
So prior to being an esthetician, I was a makeup artist for 10 years. And every time I worked on skin, when I was doing every time I was doing their makeup, all these models for production jobs, I would notice that if they had really bad skin, I would get yelled at because I was the makeup artist, right? So they were like, oh, their makeup looks bad, their makeup looks bad. But I was always really into skin anyway. So because I touched so many faces all the time, I was so interested in how their skin played a role in their makeup and the aging process and all those things. And I just became obsessed with learning about skin. So probably for about 10 years, I studied skin before I even dove into this line of business. Because I had my models that had basically really bad skin. Everyone had really bad skin and I had to make their skin pretty. So I would teach them about all the things that I was learning so that they could have better skin to make my job better.
No, that's true, because when you had done a facial on me and I went up north as I was speaking, the girl's like, oh my gosh, your skin's amazing. I was like, because I just got it hydrated. She's like, that's literally key to having your makeup look great.
It makes a really, really.
And your skin.
Oh, thank you. I try. I work on it all the time, constantly. But yeah, that was really it. I mean, I was really always into it. And also when I was young, it's crazy because when we were younger, no one really worked on their skin or really cared about it as much. I mean, now it's kind of like everyone is into it, but I was always really into it because I didn't want to look old. And prevention is always easier than correction. It's like working out your whole life. If you work out your entire life, you're probably going to have a great physique your entire life. And if you take care of your skin your entire life, you're probably going to have good skin your entire life. It's the largest organ on your body. So,
So it's always been like your passion. It's always been like
I feel like no, skin was not always my passion. It was my passion for me personally, but not my passion for other people. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Yeah, like
always
into it for yourself. And then that was like a passion project that learned into. But I feel like you're making it very modest. You own a very beautiful facility. You just moved into your own facility.
Thank you.
Congratulations. In Miami Shores, right? Miami Shores. beautiful. You guys have to go check it out. And not only that, but you also did the whole interior design. I'm like, who did this? You're like, I did. And I was like, how are you so great at everything? How? You were just gonna be friends. I'm not good at everything. So I was like, you're right. That's why you gotta have great friends that can balance out all the things that you're weak at. But what, and then you're wanting to get into like other things we were talking about, but what, like you're constantly evolving and growing. Like where is that coming from, that next thing? Because you're not just an esthetician, you're also a teacher. You're a mentor. You've created such a, you've created a community in what you're doing. Like, has it always been like that of you creating that? Or did you think like, hey, I want to create a community and I want to teach and I want to create this culture?
So honestly, when I started doing this, I didn't really have an idea of where it was going to go. So it's kind of like when I go back to makeup. When I started makeup, it was something that I was like, oh, I'm really good at this. I like doing this. I love being an artist and being creative. I didn't know where it was going to lead me. I just had that, gut intuition that this was the path I was supposed to go on. And once I did it, every door opened for me because I was open to receiving what I was supposed to be doing. And then when that, chapter of my life ended and I dove into skin, I didn't really know where it was going to take me. I just knew that I really loved the science behind skin. I loved the feeling of knowing that I can change skin, but also making people feel confident and beautiful was something I really liked. It was something that gives me more pleasure, more than anything else, to make someone feel really good about themselves. Because when someone's like, wow, I feel so beautiful, you changed my life, I can look at myself in the mirror, it's something I can't explain to anyone how that feels. When someone looks at themselves and they feel ugly, it's a really terrible thing, So, all of our definition of beauty is different. So, but for me, that was what felt good. As far as like mentoring and teaching, I didn't ever know that was my path. I just always liked to do that. Like I loved like taking women and like kind of joining forces with them and having it. I love being in a team. I don't like to be solo. I love being with other people. So I don't know if that necessarily was something I even thought about. I just think I naturally am able to do that. And then I just think I work so well with other people and I'm such a team player that it kind of happened that way. But I really had no idea where my skin career was going. Like if you would have asked me 4 years ago, if I would have been here, I would have said, no way. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably thought I would have been, like maybe doing something more online, like being maybe more of an influencer, I guess you would say, or selling products online or I wouldn't have thought I would have had my own facility.
And so what you're saying too is you just kind of listened to your intuition and you just kind of took that next step and that because a lot of people try to like see everything as a whole and they get so frustrated. And I think it's very refreshing to hear from you to say, especially for people listening, is like, I didn't know it was going to turn into this. I just kind of took that first step and then this step led to
I think it's great. I think it's great to have a plan, obviously. You don't want to, sometimes I'm a little too impulsive, but I think it's good to plan things out. But sometimes your plan doesn't always go as you plan. And I think you have to like naturally trust once you start trusting your instincts a little more, I think once you make decisions, you're a little more confident about those decisions. Do you know what I'm saying? You're like, I know this is the right thing to do. I know this path is the right path to go on. And even if, you get steered in different directions, it's always something better. So I really just trust like where I'm going in the process. And even if it ended or it didn't work out or it took me someplace else, I would always be like, wow, well that took me from A to B to C to D,
Yeah. So there's a word that I've been using a lot. It's called pivoting. And that's practically what you're saying is like, yes, have a plan. Because I'm like, you don't seem like you're disorganized because your spa is like very like on point. You had an event for you're very also organized and planned, like your place is clean and spotless, like you're not just
Right.
pop
No.
up, do what you want to do. So for people that don't know you, like, let me just inform you, she's not.
No,
like,
I don't sleep.
More like that, but no, you're very. But even like when you moved, like everything was very strategic. Like you had a strategy behind, but when it comes to pivoting, you had mentioned to trust yourself and to trust your intuition. Have you always been so connected to your intuition? Because I know a lot of people have a hard time with trusting that.
Yeah, I think it took a long time to fully trust my intuition. I always had very strong intuition, and I had moments where I didn't listen to it, and I was like, oh, that wasn't good. But as I got older and started really following my intuition, I think what makes you go against your intuition is your ego. You feel me? Because your intuition's telling you one thing, but your ego is telling you something else, right? Because your intuition's not always something you want to hear, right? I mean, it could be anything. It could be a relationship. I mean, what if my intuition all of a sudden one day was like, oh, this business is going to fail. Maybe I should sell it. And then I hold off to the end and I lose everything because I didn't follow my intuition when I should have. Because that was my ego saying, hey, don't do that. It took me a long time and a lot of mistakes to finally trust my intuition. And now I'm to the point where I don't question it whatsoever. Once I have a feeling and I really know that it's the right, it's like, it really is my intuition. I don't even bother. I don't even question it anymore. I'm like, oh, well, you just know. It takes a long, long, long time to trust it. I think once you start doing it like once or twice, you're like, oh, it works. You know what I mean? You gotta give in.
Like,
you gotta give in.
Yeah. So really, like, giving yourself an opportunity to have a new experience, to be like, okay, well, it's not working this way, so let me try this way and see what happens. And typically, you're saying it's always right.
I've never been wrong.
Do you have now, girl? I saw you on your stair stepper, so I know you've been working out, and I know you take your health very serious, but what are some of your like non-negotiables? Because part of the show is also like celebrating the woman behind the lane, like what it takes to keep you mentally, physically, emotionally, and energetically strong and healthy AF. So what are some of your daily non-negotiables that like keep you operating at high levels?
So I don't go out much. I'm not gonna lie. Like I really make sure I sleep so that I can get so my brain is working, and to get to like basically I need to like get a lot of things done during the day. So I'm very focused on the things that I have to get done. So I don't have many distractions going on in my life. And everyone that I have surrounding me they have to have, so I want to say that everyone around me at this point in my life adds a lot of value to my life. And so like I said, I'm not distracted. I think distractions for me is a non-negotiable. I can't be distracted by nonsense anymore. It's not like I don't want to have fun in life. I love to have fun. I love to do things, but I just don't have time for things like that anymore. And I don't find them as important either. So it's important I have my goals and I have a lot of responsibility. A lot of people I'm responsible for. It's not just me, right? I have other people's lives in my hands. I have people's livelihoods. So I can't get distracted much at all. I work out every day. It's very important for me. Even when I go on vacation, I work out every day. It gives me my mental peace. So I have that time by myself. And so I can, give the best that I can give to everyone around me, really. I eat really healthy too. I don't. My diet is super, super important. Trying to think. I feel like I'm kind of boring. Wow.
Well, I mean, there are certain disciplines that have to be established in order for people to reach heightened levels of success. And I think that was, besides getting to like talk to my friends and build strong relationships with powerhouse women, I also want people to understand, like, there's a blueprint behind every successful human being, and it's not super stimulating.
You're 100% right. I mean, I feel
You
like,
know, like, we have a very
I
similar
feel that
lifestyle.
it's probably why, what do they say, you know, what is it, like 5% of, or 1% people, you know, are really successful and, you know, make a certain amount of money, because it just it takes a lot of your life. You know, it does take a lot of your time. I mean, I wake up every day around 6 a.m. and I work 5 hours before I go to work, you know? But I actually really love to work. So it's something about me. I've always been like that. I've always like really, really liked working. But I think that for me, it's the game that's so fun for me. Like the game of business is very fun for me. So it doesn't so much feel like it's a boring job, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I like to understand, like, what is it that keeps you like mentally strong, emotionally strong, energetically strong. You mentioned like
Hmm.
sleep for sure is a non-negotiable. The people around yourself with, you have like a beautiful relationship with
Yeah.
Jade, with your husband. I mean, even your clients become
Yeah.
friends. We become friends by me going to you. And like, you just have such a light way about you, because your energy is
Yeah.
everything. I try to tell people, like, energy
It's
is
very
real,
important.
and people can feel it.
For me to be mentally
Hmm.
strong, I do a lot of work. Like I read a lot of self-help books. I've done a lot of work to get myself to this point. And I think eliminating a lot of toxic people around me probably weighed me down more than anything else for a very, very long time. Once I started surrounding myself with the right kinds of people, whether they're successful or not, that has nothing to do with it. It's actually when I say value to the table, it's like value emotionally, value energetically, value even when, you know, someone who maybe has the same kind of lifestyle, like diet that I have, or working out, or even my clients, whatever it may be. When I started to eliminate lots of toxic things around me, everything around me became better. And I was able to bring the right people and the right things around me. And like you said, like even my clients, like I want people to come in here to have like it has to be a whole vibe. It has to be a whole energy. And that's with my staff
Yeah.
too. You know, I want everyone that works with me to have the same kind of energy. Otherwise,
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I was like, even the
mhm,
ecosystem you've created inside your workspace, like the girls' energy,
yes,
they're light, they're happy, you guys laugh a lot, but you're also about your
hmm,
business at the same time. You know, I love that. I love that you can actually be profitable business wise, but also still like
yeah,
have fun and have a good time and be in a good mood. Because people, like, for me, that's like my rest time. You know, people come in, that's like the rest time, but it's like I get to hang out with my friend at the same time, which makes it even more, you know,
yeah.
enjoyable to go see you and
I
your
took my
team.
time with my team for sure, finding the right people to be on our team. You know, what's that saying? It's hire slow and fire quickly.
I didn't hear. Okay, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Hire slow, fire
So, you know,
quickly.
what it means to get the right, to really, I
Hmm.
don't waste too much time on people that don't bring value to the glotique either. You know, like we're so small here. And my goal really, when I like close my eyes and I think of the glotique, I'm like, okay, I don't want glotiques all over the world. I want everyone from all over the world coming to the glotique. So how do I create that? How do I get people from all over the country to come here? You know, I don't want to be everywhere. I want them to come here to us. And it has to do with every single person that's here. And if you can't come to me, Tanya, and you go to another person here, Danica or Nicole, I mean, I want you to love them as much as you love me. I want you to be like, oh my God. Like, I don't care who I go to, they're amazing. That is what you want, right? You don't want everyone to go, oh, there's only one person there that's good and that's it.
Yeah. Well, it's like what you're saying too. It's
Yeah.
also the consistency in your business of the, like, one thing that I really loved about the yoga shala that I used to go to is no matter what time I could make, I knew that they were all
Right.
trained properly by the main guy that was like the business owner and like the main person that
Mhm.
created the school. And everybody was trained from him. So I know
Right.
that it was
Right.
consistent no matter
Exactly.
what. So, what are some core values you look for when you're with not only your team members, but also like friends, your inner circle? Like, because you mentioned that too, like there has to be like values in place. So, what were some of those, like, what are your like non negotiable core values and people that you now bring into your life in this season of your life?
So one thing that is really important to me is people that respect time. It's really important to me that people respect time. I that's a big no-no for me. I can't handle that. Everyone around me, I feel that obviously they're honest. You know, honesty is really important to me, but that they see the same vision that I see and they treat it like it's theirs. You know, when you have people around you that like love you and love your business just as much, like it's if it's their own, it's there's no money that can beat that. It's priceless to find people that like really love it like it's there. It's hard. It's hard to find that.
Yeah. So there's a question I've been asking a lot, like who did you feel, because you mentioned you had to get rid of a lot of toxic people in your life. And I know I have had this conversation personally because it turned into like a whole like conversation
I'm like a therapist
in the room. But like, yeah. What did you have to overcome, and who did you have to become in order to like get to the space that you are now, to build Rochelle of who Rochelle is now? What are some things that you had to like adapt to, and some things that you had to let go
So I
of?
noticed when I had a lot of, you know, like I said, toxic people around me. I think there was a part of me that was a bit of a people pleaser. And, you know, I would go out of my character to please people, but also because I didn't like rejection and I didn't want them to like not like me or not want me, even though, you know, life's rejection is God's protection. You know what I'm saying? And I think I would hold on to things that weren't good for me anymore for such a long period of time, and it would really break me down more than anything. And it was there was a moment in my life where I had a really bad experience with a boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, whatever. That it was probably one of the most disrespectful things that anyone could ever have done to me. And I knew I should have broken up with this guy like from week 3, you know, of talking to him. And I didn't. And then I ended up staying in the situation that was so long, but it broke me down so bad. And I swore to myself after that situation that I would never, ever put myself in that situation ever again. That's why I said I would trust my intuition, because I knew my intuition was right. And from that moment forward, I started that 90-day rule with everyone around me. And people had 90 days, friends, boyfriends, whatever, for me to not see what it was, not what I liked about them, but more so what I didn't like about them. And was I really willing to deal with what I didn't like about them? Because everyone has things that you don't like, right? But I was like, well, can I deal with them? So that moment in my life had happened like 4 or 5 years ago. And then from there, I really changed my whole life around. I mean, no,
Can you
huh?
tell them exactly what that? Can you tell like our viewers exactly what that 90-day
Okay,
rule
so
is?
so you know when you
'Cause I don't talk about,
So,
but they
you
don't.
know when you
What is the
this is
90
like
day
okay,
rule?
so you know when you go to a job and they give you a 90-day probation period. So like let's say if you worked at a bank, you would say they wouldn't like just give you the keys to the
Yeah.
vault. Like they would just be like, okay, you have 90 days to prove to us that you deserve access to the money or to certain things, right? And so I just started applying that to all my relationships. So when I meet someone, I'm like, okay, and I let them know too, you have 90 days. Nobody ever made it past 30 and maybe 42, but no one went past that point. And so basically within that period, instead of me being so blinded, like I said, by all the things that I love about you, because I already know what I like about you, right? I mean, I'm talking to you for a reason. You're my friend for a reason. Maybe you're my client for a reason. However, I started paying attention to the more important things. Like, what are like your behaviors, you know, your consistency, your respect, your how other people talk about you, how you treat other people. And when I started to do that was when I was like, oh, I don't like you so much anymore. And it started to, like, you know, you start to see the red flags go up, but it was me more paying attention to those things, the red flags or whatever you want to call them. And it just started to change even how I had relationships. And I would just start cutting people off real quick. And it was honestly the best thing I have ever done. I was like, I tell everyone, like, you need a 90-day rule. It's amazing. No one makes it. And if they make it, you keep them there forever, because everyone's nice out the box. You know, every employee is
Yeah.
amazing. Every guy you date is great. Every friend you think you find is amazing in the beginning, but you have to pay attention to their character. You know, what do they post? What do they listen to? You know, how is their relationship with their family? How is their relationship with money? How is their relationship with their other friends? You know, why do they not have friends? You know, why do they not talk to their family members? Like, those things are really important. You have to pay attention because, you know, I know it's a harsh thing to say, but people, we're really not special when you think about it. Like, my relationship with you, like, I treat you the way I treat everyone. You know, I love you. I give you respect. I give you my time. Like, I care for you. I treat you like I treat everybody else. But, you know, you're not special. If I treat everybody else bad, I'm going to treat you bad. Right? Like, I'm not gonna wake up one day and be like, I'm gonna treat you great, even though I treat everyone else bad around me. But it really changed my life. That 90-day rule was the best thing I ever did. Best thing. And you can ask my husband.
Did you come up with it?
Where did I
Did you
know?
come up
Where
with
did
it?
I see it? Um, no, I didn't. I'll tell you where I did it. I went to is it called Vu Church? Vu Church? Is that what it's called? Vu Church. And I went, this is when I had that really bad relationship breakup. Remember I told you? So I went to this church, and the pastor said this passage from the Bible that said, um, what is it? It is, be careful. Oh, hold on. Let me think of it. It's about your heart. Oh, protect your heart above all else, for it is the wellspring of life. And basically, when he broke it all down, it's, you know, you have to protect your heart. And he gave the analogy of like working at a bank and all these things, and that, you know, you don't just give your heart away. You don't just give your trust away, that people have to earn it, and that it takes time. It doesn't mean you have to be closed off or act like you don't care, or, you know, act so hard that you're you know, you're untouchable. That's not what it's about. Like, I don't want people to think I'm untouchable, because I'm not untouchable. I want you to be able to relate to me. I just want you to know that I have a boundary. I have a very clear boundary. And I didn't have clear boundaries. And then from there, I was like, oh, this makes sense. So also, you know, what I was doing wasn't working. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. So I was like, clearly, I need to change something in my life. So no, I didn't. I kind of came up with it, but not really. But it was more. It was more that day that that pastor said that to me, but to everyone.
Yeah. Well, you took that
I ran
and
with it.
you
I tell
ran
everyone.
with it. But it, but it's true. I mean, you don't think of it like that. And I know even for me, like, I give like my whole heart, and the moments I give my whole heart just so fast, it's like devastating. And then I got to go back, work, do some deep work to collect it. But if you would have
Yeah.
just taken a time to just like said, like, take it slow and just really audit and assess everything, you can, in yoga they say anticipate suffering and don't go there, which is like practically
Right.
the rule in an aspect. Like, if you know it's going to happen, that's amazing. You guys, 90 days. Make it a year.
It's the best rule ever.
That's an amazing rule. I'm
To
definitely applying it.
to everything.
I definitely,
To everything though. Like, not to everything. Friends,
yeah.
business, you know, business partners, you know, people that you work with, men. I mean, you apply it to everything, and it works. It just, you know.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, even projects, because people have a hard time understanding if they even want to like fully commit to something. A lot of people have commitment issues because they're like, oh, then I'm going to get stuck in it forever. But if you even apply that, like, let me see what happens if I enjoy it and I can change my mind.
Yeah, 100%.
That time frame. So this goes into relationships, and because you are in a wonderful, newly married, right? It's been what, a year?
No, it's been a little over a year we've been married. Angel had the 90 Angel had the 90-day rule. He knows all about it.
Good. Yeah. Now we're all gonna have it. Okay. So we got our singles on here. We've got people that are dabbling, people that are dating. You and I have had. Oh, he's on right now. He goes, oh boy, we've had that. But what would you say? I know you and I have talked, so I love our conversations because it's real talk and factual talk that people need to hear about. But you have a lot of people generating their energy, dabbling their energy in things that could have been more productive if they put it in towards their business, or they put it in towards something that's actually going to add more and build them up versus break them down, as you were saying. When it comes to relationship, before you attracted your husband now, what were there things that you had to change within yourself in order to attract somebody like him? Like, did you do any of the deep work to, like,
everything,
that energy?
I changed everything. I mean, I was, by myself too. I think taking time to yourself is really important. It was probably like 3 years that I was single. Because I think you really need to know what you like. Like you said, your non-negotiables. You need to know what you like, what you don't like, what's really important to you, what's worth fighting for, at the end, at the end of the day, like, you really have to know, where do you see yourself in 10, 15, 20 years? Do they have the same morals as you, values? Do you even know what your morals and values are? Most people don't have a clue. They just think, oh, I want to get married and have kids. I'm like, but do you? They have no idea. This is just what they were taught. They just think this is what you're supposed to do. They think, oh, I found someone who's really sweet and nice to me, I'm going to marry them. But they don't dig deep to know if that person even has what it really takes to be in the relationship. Do you know does that make sense what I'm saying? So I did a lot of work to figure out what I thought was really important. And I honestly would write everything down. For 3 years, I wrote all the things down that I really, really liked. And it was like, it could be the smallest details. It could be, I want to make sure that my future spouse, has hair. I don't know, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? It could be really small little details, but those are important, right? Like, whatever is important to you. And I just started for 3 years just writing things down that I started to notice as I was dating, or as I was by myself, or things I started to discover about myself that I felt were important. Like, for example, for me, in a relationship, it's very important for me to be with someone who is thoughtful more than anything. I think that I don't care so much about presents and things like that, but it's really important for me to be with someone who's thoughtful. It could be anything like, hey, babe, I'm coming home from, work. Do you want me to grab you, anything? Do anything at the house? Things like that, because I was married for a very, very long time. And as time goes on, it's not about being in love. It's about having a friendship with someone. Because love goes like this, right? All the time. Sometimes you love them, sometimes you hate them, but you need to be friends. And I think when you're friends with someone, you're actually more thoughtful of your friends than sometimes people are of their spouses. So that was something to me was important. But like I said, I would go and just write things down. And I started to notice things about myself that I need to work on. Like, there were times where I was extremely selfish, or times that I was insensitive, or I wasn't emotionally available. I'm thinking, like, I'm going to find a guy when I'm not even emotionally available to have somebody. So you have to work on yourself a lot before you meet someone, or you settle down, I guess you would say. You're always working on yourself, but I think a big part of you have to be pretty strong in your character.
Hey, it's Tanya. I'm calling a quick timeout intermission huddle, so bring it in. I'm personally inviting you to our inner circle. It's our monthly VIP meetup with other achievers just like us.
Each week, I'm teaching everything you're going to need in order to be successful, to step into the most elite version of yourself. I'm going to break this down play by play, the tools, the systems, the strategies, everything you're going to need in order to operate at higher levels mentally, physically, emotionally, and energetically. Look, we're in a season where the idea of full potential just isn't cutting it anymore. It's time to really be it now. So click the link in the show notes and I'll see you in the inner circle. Peace.
Yeah, I mean, even for me, like being single, people like, do you go on dates all the time? I honestly don't, because I'm very clear on if I'm going to share my time with somebody. I'm clear on the type of person I'm going to share my time. And in between time, I'm working to become that type of woman that is capable of not only attracting, but keeping that type of a man. And so I think a lot of people don't understand that. Instead of just wasting time, you know, like, and you need time to, you know, build that character and the core values.
Yeah, I mean, and if you are, I mean, there's nothing wrong with dating, but the problem is like, if you're constantly like dating all the time, you're putting a lot of energy into a lot of people. And you can get caught. I mean, I used to, even obviously I dated before, but you can get caught up in a lot of things that you don't necessarily. It'll distract you. So you got caught up in a lot of things that, you know.
I'm laughing because you know I'm laughing. That word that you use, you can use that here if you want. Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, what did you just
like,
say?
Mind blown.
When we were in the room, I was like, oh my God. Yeah, it's distracting.
It's very distracting.
And then it consumes. Yeah, and it takes away from your business. It takes away your energy.
I mean, I told you that because I told my daughter, and I was like trying to teach her, you know, when she was young, probably like maybe 11 or 12. And I would talk to her because obviously they're going to talk to you about sex and their friends are going to be talking about sex. And I was like, well, I want her to talk to me about those things, but I also want her to be smart about it. I didn't want her to be scared of it or to feel like, oh, this is a bad thing, because that's something that is such an old school way of thinking. Like, oh, no, you don't have sex. Like, your kids are going to have sex. You got to like get over it, right? But I want her to understand that that energy exchange could make you like, it can make you kind of crazy. And people get so crazy or get so digmatized and obsessed with it, and they lose focus on everything else that's important to them. You know, so it's such a big energy exchange, and you have to be really careful who you're giving your energy and time to. But I mean, men,
because and then you're also taking on. Because then you're also taking on, especially as a woman, that person's energy and their anger and their fear and their doubts. And we carry that.
Yeah, a lot. But it goes for men too. You know, men take on, you know, and it's a very strong power over somebody. It really is. It can really make you do some really outrageous and stupid things.
I know. I'm past life and this lifeline. You know, that's why I like having these real conversations, because I have even my male clients where they're on course and they get diverted because of that. You know, they get into a relationship that they know isn't really going anywhere, but they're caught up in this sex, or it's a distraction. It takes away from their business and the time of like building themselves up. And
what I think is great is like when I met Angel, you know, he has his own business, he has his own thing going, he has his own life, and it was refreshing for me, because it wasn't like he was trying to take over my life or I was trying to take over his life. You know, I have my life, he has his life, and then we have our life together, and that is the best way to do it, right? Like, I'm not trying to take away from his goals or anything like that. I'm here to like, you know, water him. You know what I'm saying? And he's supposed to do that for me. He's not supposed to change me, and I'm not supposed to change him. We're just supposed to help each other grow and be on the same path together. So I think that was, for me, when I met him, it was like really refreshing. Like I said, we were actually friends. It wasn't like crazy butterflies. It wasn't anything like, oh my God, like I wasn't obsessed or anything. It was just like a nice, normal, relationship, which I never even had before. I never had an experience of meeting someone where I wasn't like crazy or obsessed with or something like that, or had those, butterflies. We had to talk to that person all day long. We were both so secure with ourselves and our lives, and it was so easy. And it was nice to be like, oh, okay, yeah, this is how it's supposed to be. It doesn't have to be so difficult. We don't have to be like so like joined at the hip. He can do his thing and I can do mine. Then we do our thing together, which is really nice.
Well, they were saying like the most successful relationships are like once the lust is gone, the love isn't there, you guys have to still be able to, like you mentioned, be friends and have something you're building on together. And it seems like you were whole, you had work to get yourself whole, he had work to get himself whole, and you guys come together and you just are such a fun compliment. Like I love watching your stories and seeing things, and you guys, like, you're just like a vibe. Like you like fit. It's cool when you see couples. They end up like kind of looking like each other too sometimes. Right? Like the really strong couples, you see them, you're like, you kind of look alike each other. They say like you hang around people.
Yeah, it's like your pets.
What about in the spaces as you've grown and evolved? Because I get a lot of these questions too. And you mentioned the significance and the power of your inner circle and the people that you're surrounded with. But as you did work on yourself and as you've grown into this like powerhouse woman, what was the transition like with even friendships? Like, because people always have that question.
So I had a lot of friendships that are, that ended. I think when you start to really work on yourself and the things that are important to you, those people that were in your life were just in your life for that season. And when that season is over, because once you're evolving and if they're staying in that same space, it doesn't really work because it's just going to pull you back into that space. I mean, I have people, of course, that have stayed over many, many years that like you kind of like grow together. But I would say the majority of relationships definitely ended. But I'm not scared to lose friends. I'm not a type of person that's very scared to lose friends or things like that because I just see it as that. There's a season, a reason, or a lifetime for lots of things that happen in your life. And I don't want to be in a situation where like I said, now if something ends, like I'm not mad about it. I don't get angry about it. I'm like, well, it wasn't meant to be in my life longer than now. So it was there, it served its purpose, or that person served their purpose, or I maybe served maybe I was their learning lesson, or I was their season. Maybe it wasn't so much for me, So I don't get upset about those things at all. I don't worry about that ever. I don't want to hold on to anything that's not good for me or not good for them.
Because I also get asked too, like about like the transition. Is it just like, hey, like I know for me and you too, your schedule is so busy, you have such limited time. Somebody who's like, hey, let's like meet for coffee. I'm like, I don't like, I'm going to go to yoga. Yeah. You want to come to yoga? I'm going to go to the gym. Welcome. Like how does that work to know that the people that are actually do want to grow and get on, the ones where you kind of funneled out during your growth process?
I think people that are really supposed to be there with you through your whole entire process, it's almost like you can always pick up where you left off with them. And they're okay with not seeing you all the time or their relationship changing, and they understand that, there are moments where they're going to be really busy, or I'm going to be really busy. I don't think I've ever really had any issues with those things from like the people that are like my core people, like ever. I can probably talk to some like one of my best friends. If I don't see her for 4 or 5 months, I still am in constant contact with them, even if I don't physically see them. But and they're okay with that, and I'm okay with that. We kind of have an understanding, like we know we're busy in life, you know what I mean? But I also, like I said, I surround myself with people who are probably just as busy as I am, so they understand it too. it's hard to be around people. It's hard to be around
Yeah.
people who don't really like get what you're doing, because that's when there's problems, because they don't get it. So what do you do with that, you know?
Yeah. And then it's like, oh, wait. Yeah. Do you just be like, oh, I'm just unavailable,
I
and then it
know.
works its way
Yeah.
out? Or are you just like, delete, block? No, I mean, these are honestly, people ask me this stuff and they want to know, and I
How do
like
you,
to hear from you
how do you
because, like
handle
I
it?
said, I invite them part of my growth, and if they want to join, they know where I'm at. But I tell them, like, I'm in a season where, you know, I'm climbing, and when I'm climbing and I'm like in a good space, I'll come get you, you know, if like that's what it's got to be. But for now, if you want to be around me, this is where I'm going to be when I have my off time. And like I said, like my downtime is going to yoga or going to the gym, because
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of, I have a lot of dreams and goals. And, you know, just like dating, if I know you're not going to be somebody that could be potential into a long-term relationship, it's a no. So that's just kind of how it is. Because like you said, there is people just see you when you're there and they think it's easy, but there's a lot of, as you mentioned, like you spend 5 hours before work to get ready for work. There's a preparation before the game.
Every day. Every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
people just see like you now, like, oh, she's just so beautiful and she's fed and she just, it's easy for her. Like,
right.
I'll tell you.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It takes a lot of work, takes a lot of time. It's consistency, you know, dedication. I mean, consistency and discipline outweigh motivation every time. So, you know, you have to like it's constant. And you know, honestly, I don't know if you find this to be true, but I think a lot of people have a hard time dealing with that personality type.
Well, we don't have a hard time dealing with each other.
But you know what I'm saying? Like I think some people really have a hard time with that, you know?
That's one of the main reasons why I wanted to create Minding My Business, is I had a way, an unawkward way, to create a table of women that I admire and I value, and for other people to get to hear and get to learn about you. But I think everything comes down to also taking personal responsibility and knowing that if I exist, other people like me exist, and just like staying focused on that. Because yeah, for a long time, I was told like I was too much or I was too loud, or, you know, why do you have to keep going for something? It's like why do I have to explain myself to you? That's exhausting.
True.
So when you come across somebody like yourself, where you're just like, you're light, you're beautiful, like you have goals, you have core values, you take personal responsibility for your life and how you want it run, it's like a breath of fresh air. So I feel like when you meet your people, that it's light. It's not like so heavy.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. I know you get it because we get each other. I mean, even the day that I saw you, like, but not only that, you're fun, but like you're like so sharp. Like your attention to detail. You're very about things. Like you take pride in what you do, and there's a lot of those like traits that are very admirable. But I think even like when looking for friends, you even need to have a list. But it's the same thing. Like, what do I consider a good friend, and am I that friend? Like, there's sometimes I'm not.
Yeah.
I am.
It's true.
I don't know. What season am I? How would you define success for you, like in this season of your life? Because everybody's talking about the word success, everybody's talking about goals. But you mentioned that you have friends that add value, and it doesn't always have to be as far as like financial value. And I think a lot of people attach success to money. But how do you define success?
So for me, Um, my success is when I set a goal for myself, obviously, and I can attain that goal is success for me, right? But it isn't so much about, I mean, everyone loves money. Don't get me wrong. Money is freedom, right? Money is great. Like, and so that seems like the prize of success, right? But for me, like I told you, I feel like being able to do what I love and be around really great people and inspire people and change people's lives and even help mentor other women to grow into, maybe they'll be entrepreneurs or take on a business or something like that. That feels like success to me. Like that's what makes me feel fulfilled inside. Like it's not always a money thing.
So you would say it's
Fulfillment.
more of a fulfillment thing.
I think when you do what you really love and you feel really
that.
passionate and you get to, I mean, don't get me wrong, because there are days where I'm like, you know, but when you get to do all the things that you really love and it's pretty amazing. It's a really, to feel fulfilled is great. So that would be success for me.
You mentioned this because I was like, that's one of my questions is what do you do in days where you don't feel good about yourself or you don't want to show up or you feel mentally weak? Like what do you do on those days to really pick yourself up?
Well, some days it depends. So let's just say some days I honestly will just take a mental health day where I'm just like, you know what? I need a day. I need a break. I'm not going to show up to be my best today. I'm not going to give my clients my best today. I'm not going to give my employees my best. And I'll literally be like, you guys, I just need like one day and I got to shut it down. I feel like I function better that way than to continue when I'm feeling like that, because that gets me on a burnout mode. So I actually have to step back a little bit instead of kind of like going through it. I mean, I'll never have a moment where it's like days and days and days or weeks and weeks and weeks that I'm feeling that way, because if that were the case, then I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if it continued like that. But I take more time to myself than anything. And that's a luxury that you have when you are, when you do have your own business or you're an entrepreneur. Like you have to understand that you need to have time. Like you can't run every second of every day 24/7, go 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 go. You're not really doing that great. You need to like step back a little bit and charge yourself again. It's like a battery, it's going to die. So you have to do that. And I used to do that though. I used to run, not go on vacations, not take breaks, not see my family and things like that. And that wasn't that exciting either. And I get to do all those things now. And I'm still doing just as good. So I'm like, okay, I could take some time to myself, but I need time. Do you all?
Do you have like a certain ritual that you do like to get you back up? Like for me, I actually had to take that this morning. I was like, my brain is shot. So what I did is I did my workout. I went to the beach. I did an ocean plunge, rollerbladed, meditated twice. And then I was like, all right, let's go. So do you have like a go-to? Like I know my go-tos. I call it when I'm like yellow lighting. Do you have any like this for those like days to prevent burnout, to have your mental health day? What is like your go-to that you know is always going to charge you up?
I always work out for like an extended period of time, and I stay outside. Like I'll go to the beach. I need to be outside. I need like the sun, the ocean. I need things like that. And then I'm like, okay. Even just sitting by my pool, just listening to music, dancing, things like that. I need to like not think about anything, nothing, just totally vibe out for the day. And then I swear, like one day like that, I'm great.
Yeah, it really is. But you mentioned too, also catch it before it leads to anything. that's what happens is you respect yourself, and that way a lot of people don't respect that, and they push, and then they get sick for like 2 weeks, or they need a whole year to recover from all
Yeah, I mean, I mean, there were times where like I've done this, and I can probably name like 10 clients. Like I've called them, and I'm like, I'm close to most of my clients. So I'll call them like, I'm really just like not okay today, and I'm honest about it. And they're like, it's okay, girl. Like I'll see you another time, But like, I think being honest about how you're feeling is important too. Like we're just human, we're not meant to, run in circles all day long. We're just not meant for that. I mean, I get it. Like there's a goal, and everyone seems to like want to make all this money and do all these things, but it'll come. When you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in life, the money will always follow. Like if you're trusting your path, you're trusting God, whatever you want to call it, or your intuition, and you're on the path that you're supposed to be on, you don't really have to worry that much. You put in the work, you put in your time, you stay consistent, you stay disciplined to it, and you follow the path wherever, even if it takes a left or a right, you have to go with it, pivot, whatever you want to call it, and it's always going to follow. The money's going to follow. The success, whatever you call success is going to follow. That's what it's for. It's your purpose, right? Like my purpose might change too. I might be doing this today, and 3 years from now, this might not be what I'm doing anymore. And I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm perfectly okay with taking this and going down another avenue or pivoting, and following that wherever it takes me. You have to know that. You have to know that about yourself. And I think people don't do it because they're scared too. I think fear plays a huge part in that, being like, and having constant stability, or failing, failure for some people is really scary.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's actually fear? That kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with trusting yourself, because you're saying the difference between the logical mind and then the heart.
I mean, I'm definitely not a fearful person at all. I don't get. I definitely.
Not. But you were giving advice to people, so we're rolling with that. I know.
I think it's hard. I think that's a hard thing. Being fearful is hard because it means you're not trusting. You're not trusting your abilities. You're not trusting what you're really supposed to be doing. It's tough. It's tough. I mean, how do you tell someone just don't be scared? Like that's easy to say, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I notice the people that actually are the most successful are the ones that they still have fear.
Yes, exactly.
They do it anyway.
I mean, most of the things Say again? I don't remember. You said you noticed what?
We're in the flow. I can't interrupt you when you're in the flow. I don't remember either. But we're just talking about, like, I guess trusting yourself. Like it's the most successful people that I notice is the ones, as they said, like they just do it anyway, and they still have that fear. But that's why, like, I like to see, like, what are the day-to-day, like, the habits, the rituals, the routines that are in place that allow you to have the will and the courage to do it anyway.
You're right.
But you mentioned no, you talked about like your training, knowing when to, like, when you're not okay and being honest about it, because if you listen, you're gonna be out for a lot longer, because eventually something's gonna stop you. So you might as well do it sooner than later. I can believe that we've been on for about an hour now, but I want to end with this. If you can leave the audience with one thing that you feel would be very impactful, or that's been a very impact for you, they could take with them on a day-to-day basis, what would that one thing be?
Oh, that's wow. I'm getting hot. I don't even know.
Something simple. simple. It doesn't like something where I think what happens is people give advice and it sometimes is so
Yeah.
overwhelming that they don't even know where to start. So when you were like in your space of transitioning or picking yourself back up or recollecting your power, what's one thing that you would like hold on to?
I would just say,
To keep you moving.
I would say give yourself grace. You know, like give yourself grace. Like it's okay. You know what I mean? Like you're not perfect and it's okay. And you're not special. I know it sounds really harsh. Don't you? You're not special.
And you're not special. You're not special, so give yourself some grace.
You got it. I meant that, right?
Yeah. No, I do. Well, the thing is, when we create, I bought a course with Gabrielle Bernstein on relationships, and she was saying, like, even in coaching or people that you go to for services, when you put somebody on a pedestal, and because we are all human, they do one thing that's human, and then you like bash them for it. But when you understand, I'm special, I'm human, you're not special, you're human, we're just here just trying to make this thing called life amazing and, you know, do good with it. But yeah, I think it's when you understand something, it's not so harsh, it's just real talk.
You're special.
You know? Yeah. No, I'm not special.
You're authentic. You're authentic.
We're authentic. We mind our business and we stay on our lane. But yeah, I love that. Give yourself grace. That word has been coming up a lot, actually, with
my sister says that to me. You know, another really good one? Be a screen, not a sponge.
What does that mean?
Be a screen, not a sponge. So let things go through you. Don't absorb them. My sister said that to me a lot. It really helped me a lot.
I love that.
Yeah.
Did it? Yeah. I noticed a lot of people on here too come on in there. They do feel deeply, and you learn over time. You know, give people some type of advice that could fast track them or to help them just elevate their mind, their business, and see like, hey, you know, you're not alone, and everybody else that's doing amazing things have gone through the same things. Because I'm sure you could say the same, community. I wish I had a community where people told me these things were going to happen, and that I felt like, because I think the reason why we say that, have grace for yourself, is because we could be really, really hard on ourselves, and that really can do some really self-destructive stuff to break 100%. Us down. So you're not special. Give yourself grace and be a screen, not a sponge. By Rochelle.
And have a 90-day rule.
Yeah. Yes. 90-day rule. Wow. How could I forget that one? That is like, that
you are not
like,
the first person who has said this to me. I swear. Lots of people say this to me. They're like, what's a 90-day rule? What's a 90-day rule?
Yeah. You book 2023.
I'm gonna put it on my 1,000 list of things to do.
Perfect. I'll be there. I'll be on that list too.
Love you.
Thank you so much for being on the show today. I love you too. Thank you guys for joining us. Until next Tuesday, remember to mind your business, stay in your lane, and do great things. And if you're having bad days, don't project it on other people. Just get yourself right, and we're here for you. Love you guys.
Bye.
Love you, Rochelle. Thank you so much.